So we have seen how to make field, default value, display value, and calculated value, and dependent field. And also we have seen like choice list specification and reference qualifiers. Okay. So guys, here the point that you guys have to remember is, okay, the point that you guys have to remember is, we are going to discuss about dictionary overrides. The topic for today is dictionary overrides. Okay, so guys, to cover this topic, I have to explain you guys few things. Okay, I have to explain you guys few things. So here our table is actually major issue table. So the table name is actually major issue table, right? U underscore major underscore issue dot list. Okay. So this is the table that we have actually created, guys. Okay, this is the table that we have actually created. Okay, so this is actually the major issue table. Let me just open the major issue table, guys. I'm going to configure table directly. So this is the major issue table. So on this major issue table, we have actually created multiple fields here, like affected caller, assigned to, assignment group, caller date of birth, category, configuration item. So all these fields created by us. So we did create all these fields. Okay. So guys, we also understand about the properties that are related to this fields, like you know we have understand like what is read only, what is mandatory, what is display, so like default value, choice list specification, reference qualifier. So all these things we had actually already discussed. Okay, so now what am I going to do, guys? I am going to create a new table. So I am going to create a new table under tables. Okay. Okay, so here I am going to create a new table that is actually major issue task. Major issue task. Okay, so guys, here I want to show this major issue task table under major issue application menu. Okay, so guys, here while actually creating table, I told you that I would actually explain this thing about extends table about later part. So now I am going to discuss about this extends table. Guys, this is very important thing, guys. So here I am going to create major issue task table. Here I am actually trying to create major issue task table. So here what am I planning to do is I am planning to extend this major issue table here. I am planning to extend this major issue table here. So but I don't find this major issue table here, guys, because we haven't selected this table as not extendable. So now I have selected this as extendable, guys. So now this table is actually extendable. Major issue table is extendable. So now you will be able to see major issue here in this reference field. So I have actually selected the major issue table here. Okay. So guys, try to remember one thing. Whatever the fields, I did not actually create any field here now. I did not actually create any field now. I am actually creating auto number. Okay. So I am actually creating this table. So I did not actually create any field here. As I'm extending this table, right, major issue table, right, whatever the fields that you are able to see here, right, whatever the fields that you will be able to see here, right, all the fields will get automatically come here when you extend major issue table here. So now I am going to create a major issue task table here. So you guys can see, did we create all these fields? Whatever the fields that you are seeing, did we create all these fields or did it come automatically?
They came. It's like inherited from the main table, right?
Yes. So the fields got automatically come to major issue task table. Okay, the fields got automatically come to major issue task table, guys. So all these fields belongs to which table? All these fields belongs to which table?
Major issue. Major issue.
Major issue table. So guys, now I have actually created major issue task and major issue table, both the tables. I have major issue task table, major issue table, both the tables. Now what am I going to do is, I am going to open major issue task form. U underscore major underscore issue underscore task dot do. So here I am actually opening major issue form. So this is actually major issue form. This is actually major issue task form. All these fields that you are actually able to see on major issue task form. So where are these fields? Where are these fields coming from? Where are these fields coming from, guys?
It comes from the major issue table.
Major issue.
So all these fields are actually coming from major issue table. So now what am I going to do is, I am going to major issue table. I am opening assign to here. I am opening assign to here. I am actually making this assign to field as mandatory. Assign to field as mandatory here. Okay, now if I refresh this one, on the major issue task also the assign to is mandatory. Why is it mandatory here? So here I have actually made a field mandatory on major issue table, but it has become mandatory on the major issue task as well. Why did it happen?
Because you update the assigned to field in major issue table.
So I did make, the field as mandatory in the assign to field on the issue task. I mean on the major issue task.
Yeah.
Sorry, on the major issue table, I have actually made assign to as mandatory because as we are actually extending major issue table in the major issue task table, all the fields of major issue table are coming to major issue task table. Okay, so this field is actually belongs to which table? Major issue table. So
Yeah.
that is why it has become mandatory here. Okay, so here assign to is mandatory here, assign to is mandatory here also. Okay, now I am going to make contact type as read only. I am going to contact type. So now if you refresh this one, contact type has become read-only here, and the contact type has also become read-only here as well.
So
Okay.
what if you delete, what if you delete a field from the parent one? It will be deleted also from the child?
Yes. Shall we give a try?
No, it's fine. Just a
Yeah.
question.
If we delete it from the major issue table, the field will be deleted from major issue task as well. Okay. So now if I make it as inactive, so I am actually making contact type as inactive here. So the contact type will not be available for both major issue and major issue task as well. So on the major issue task as well, the contact type will not be available. See, if I make it active, this is available on both major issue task and major issue table. Okay. So guys, for major issue table, I want to make short description as display value. For major issue task, I want to make description as display value. Okay. So here for major issue task, whatever is there in the description, I want to make this as display value. For major issue, whatever is there in the short description, I want to make that as display value. Okay. So here what I want to do is I want to make yeah. So guys, just give me a while, guys. Yeah. So if I make a short description as display value, I am going to short description here. Short description as display here. So on the major issue task also, it is actually short description will become display value, and the major issue task also short description will become display value. See here, I am actually entering here. I am Uday. So now it will actually it will become display value. See, I am Uday has become display value here. Here also short description is the display value. Short description is the display value. See, my requirement is, I will actually discuss about my requirement in the later part. Okay. So why are these getting same in the both major issue and major issue task? Let us say if you are making field mandatory in the parent table field, that is also getting mandatory here. Okay, if you are actually making read only here, this is also mandatory getting read only here in the major issue task as well. If you are actually making a short description as display value, this is also getting display in the major issue task as well. So what do we have to do in this case? So here my requirement is assign to should be mandatory in the major issue, should not be mandatory in the major issue task. Okay, understand my requirement clearly. So it is getting loaded, guys. Let me just refresh this one. Okay. So here, guys, if you take a look at here, assign to is mandatory here. It is mandatory here. So why these two are mandatory? Because I have actually extended this major issue table in the major issue task table, and then I have made assign to as mandatory here in the major issue table. Okay. So are you guys confused or are you guys clear? Omar or Ragat? Are you guys clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Till here, are you guys good, right?
Yes,
It's fine for me. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So guys, as per the customer requirement, the assign to should not be mandatory in the major issue task table. In the major issue task table, assign to should not be mandatory. So as this field is actually coming from major issue table, whenever you make field on the major issue table, this is also getting mandatory here. So how to overcome this one? So I want assign to field should be mandatory here, but it should not be mandatory here in this major issue task. So what do we have to do? We have to go to assign to field here. If you scroll little down here, you can go to dictionary overrides, click on new. Okay, see here, we are actually extending base table major issue on which table? Major issue task table. Okay, on the major issue task table, I'm actually overriding mandatory. Okay, I'm actually overriding mandatory. I am leaving unchecked. Unchecked means you are actually making non-mandatory. So here I'm actually submitting this one. So now if you refresh this one, this is become mandatory. This is actually mandatory here in the major issue table. But if I refresh this one, the assign to is not mandatory now in the major issue task table. See, the assign to is actually mandatory in the major issue table. It is not mandatory in the major issue task table. Okay, so guys, I want to make contact type as read only in the major issue task table. Here in the major issue table, I want to make this editable. Okay, are you guys clear?
Yes.
Yeah,
Are you guys
clear.
clear with the requirement?
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Okay, so this contact type should be read only in the major issue task, but it should be editable in the major issue table. So what do we have to do? We have to go to the contact type. Okay, here I'm actually unchecking this one. I'm actually writing dictionary override. In the dictionary override, so what am I doing here? Override read only this time. Okay, so here what am I doing is I'm actually making contact type field as read only on the major issue task and should be editable on the major issue table. In the major issue table, it will be editable now. So is it editable or not? It is editable now. So are you guys able to understand what is dictionary override, guys?
Yeah, it's clear.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, are you guys able to understand what is dictionary override?
But the task table is child or parent for the major issue table?
I didn't get you far.
What's the relationship between major issue task table and major issue table?
So major issue table is actually the base table, and major issue task table is actually the child table.
Ah, base means parent table.
Parent, yeah.
Okay. So for the override, you are using the override to change something in the child table, not in the parent table.
So even in the parent table as well.
So what's the concept of override? Yani the child is overriding the parent, or the parent is overriding the child. How do we visualize it from the parent and child concept?
Okay. So here, right? Here, right? If you want to make this configuration item, read only in the child tables.
The child table, okay.
Child tables. So what you would do, you will go to the configuration item field. You will go to the configuration item field. In the configuration item, so what you are doing, so you are actually making configuration items on the child tables. You are making configuration item read only in the child tables. Okay, so here you are actually going dictionary overrides. Okay, so here what are we doing? Override read only and checking read only checkbox. Okay, so now let us say in coming days you have one more table which is actually extending major issue table. So if you want that to be read only, you can also select this one. You can actually select another table that is actually extending, that is actually major issue table. You can select that table as well. Then also you can actually override dictionary. Understand my point?
So you mean under major issue table, there could be more than one child table. One of them is task only.
Yes.
Okay.
You're right. So now let me give you a better example now. Okay. In the ServiceNow platform, the base table is actually task table. So task table is actually the base table, guys. Okay. So here the point that you guys have to remember is here task table is actually the base table in the ServiceNow platform.
So base, you mean parent of all the parents, yani the root, you mean?
Yeah. So this is actually the task table is actually the root table. Incident table, problem table, change table. There are many tables which are extending task table. So let me just go to the tables, guys. Here in these tables, here you guys can see what are all the tables that are extending task tables. So here you guys can see incident table is actually extending task table. Problem is actually extending task table, and change request also extending task table.
Yeah, these are the possible children of the root task table.
Yeah, so these are all the tables which are actually extending task tables.
Okay.
So let me just open incident table. So here incident is actually extending task table here. Okay. If you open change request table, change request is actually extending task table. So guys remember, if you open the task table here, Yeah. So guys, so task table. So task table has actually many fields. All these fields will go to child tables. So incident is actually extending task table, right? All the task table fields will come to incident table. All the task table fields come to change table, because task table is actually the base table. Okay,
inherited, yeah. Okay.
you understand it, right?
Yeah.
So here, if you open incident form here, if you open incident form here, incident.do. So this assignment group, assigned to, these are actually from task table. This assignment group and assigned to are task from task table, guys. See, the table name is actually task table. So likewise, so I have a question, guys. This assignment group field is there in, let me just open one more form as well. So guys, this assignment group is also coming from task table. See here. So this is also coming from task table, guys. So because why this task table, this change request is actually extending task table. So if I go to the task table and make assignment group as mandatory. Okay, if I make this as mandatory, so it will become mandatory on change table. It will become mandatory on change table.
Yes.
It will become mandatory on incident table as well. See, it has become mandatory on incident table. It has become mandatory on there should be some script, guys, which will be no. Let me just go to assignment group. There will be some script that will be actually making this as non-mandatory. So take configuration item. Take configuration item field, not assignment group. Take configuration item. Okay. So I'm not going to write any dictionary override. I'm going to make configuration item as mandatory. So now configuration item will become mandatory here in the change request. So configuration item also will become mandatory here in the incident table as well. See, it has become mandatory here. It also has become mandatory here. So I don't want configuration item to be mandatory on the incident table. What do I have to do? I don't want the configuration item to be mandatory on the incident table. What do I have to do?
Go to the table task and go
So
to
I am
the
actually, I have to go to configuration item on the task table. Here I have to override the dictionary. So here which table I have to select? Incident. Okay.
yeah.
So override mandatory false. So it will not become mandatory here in the incident table. Okay. So in the incident table, configuration item is not mandatory. So here in the change request table, it is actually mandatory table. So mandatory field. So now you guys are able to understand, right, how to override the dictionary. So guys, now if you open a dictionary override form, dictionary override form. So what are all the things that we can actually override? What are all the things that we can actually override, guys? Okay. So here we can actually override reference qualifier, override dependent field, override attributes, override default value, override calculated value, override mandatory, read only, display value. So all the dictionary properties can be overridden using this dictionary override. Do you guys understand?
Yeah, but some of this we cannot understand. Yani we don't understand what is reference qualifier, what is dependent, what is default
Okay,
value.
got you. Okay. I am going to explain you.
Okay.
So let me remove few of the tabs here, which will make you guys confused. We have major issue form. This is actually major issue form. Let me just open major issue task form as well. So this is actually major issue form. This is actually major issue task form. Okay. So here you guys can understand this is actually caller field. This is actually coming from which table? So here directly we have created caller field in the major issue form. So this caller is actually coming from major issue table, isn't it? Isn't it, guys?
Yes.
Not from user table.
See, this caller is actually, we have actually created this caller field on the major issue table. This caller field we have actually created on the major issue table, right? As we are actually extending major issue table in the major issue task table, the fields are getting automatically inherited. That is why we are able to see caller field on the major issue task table. Is it clear?
I understand. Inherited from the major issue parent table.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me just remove this reference qualifier here. So now let me just refresh this one. Let me also refresh this one. See how many records we are able to see here in the reference field. 626 records we are able to see here. Okay. So here also you can see 626 records. Okay. If I keep a reference qualifier here, okay. So department is HR. So here, if I refresh it now, so I can only see HR department users here.
So reference qualifier to narrow down the result of the end user search result.
So here in the reference fields, if you want to restrict that data that you can see here in the reference fields, you will use reference qualifier.
Add conditions to see limited number of end users, for example.
Yes. I have added condition to see the limited number of people. See, now I can only see 22 records. Here also, if I click on this magnifying glass, I can see 22 records here. So guys, here in the major issue table, I want to see the department, the users who belongs to the users who belongs to HR departments. Here in the major issue task table, I want to see the users who belongs to customer support department. Okay, so here I go to the caller field. So by default, it is actually department is HR. On the major issue table, we can see HR department users. Right? So we have actually kept the condition here. So on the major issue table, we can see HR department users. But in the major issue task table, I want to see customer support department. So I am actually overriding the reference qualifier here. Department is equal to, so the department SysID. Okay, CMN underscore department.list. There is a department table, guys. From there, I am actually copying the SysID. So department is equal to this one. I am submitting this one. So now, if I go and refresh this one, okay. So here, if you go and refresh this one, here you guys can see, you can only see customer department users here. So what did I do, guys? Here I have actually write a dictionary override. I have actually written dictionary override. So which is actually overriding the reference qualifier. Do you guys agree? I have actually overridden the reference qualifier. See? On the major issue task table, the reference qualifier is this one. On the major issue table, the reference qualifier is department is HR. Do you guys understand what is, so how to override the reference qualifier? Fath Omar. Hello.
Yes, yes.
So now go to, if we go to the reference qualifier, right? Sorry, the dictionary override. So these are all the things that we can actually override. We can override reference qualifier, we can override. So these are actually field properties. These are actually, all these are actually field properties, guys. Okay. So we can override all the field properties like mandatory, read-only, display, default, attributes, dependent, reference qualifier. All these things can be overridden. So you guys understand the purpose of